Hey guys, it's Caden Swanson, and
Dylan Clower.
we'll be doing the German invasion of the Soviet Union during 1942, also known as Case Blue. Case Blue was an operation launched by the German army to secure the oil fields in the Caucasus from the Soviet Union. This eventually led to the Battle of Stalingrad, in which the German army was severely damaged, and they would be on the back foot for the rest of the war. We're going to see how that plays out right now.
Before the Battle of Stalingrad, the Soviets beat back the Germans outside of Moscow, but at the cost of 3.9 million Russian lives. The Germans hope their odds will be better in this next invasion.
The German army managed to push the Russians past the Don-Don River during Case Blue. This was their start into the Caucasus. The Russian army was in full retreat, and things were looking pretty good for the Germans.
Yeah, dude, and I still got like a math project to finish after this. Dude, shut up.
Oh, moving ships. The German army managed to reach the outskirts of Stalingrad and slowly start taking it over. Stalin issued the famous 227 order, which denied Russians any access of retreating, also known as the No Foot Back Order. This slowed the Germans, but not stopped them, and before the end of the year, the Germans had taken over 90% of Stalingrad. Things were looking bleak for the Russians, and there was already German propaganda going around that the city had been taken.
The Germans advanced too far into Russian territory, and the Soviet Union saw this as an opportunity to surround the German Sixth Army. The German Sixth Army was now completely surrounded and had no way to retreat.
Now that the German army was completely surrounded, there was no way for resources and food to get to the 200,000 soldiers trapped inside the Stalingrad. The Luftwaffe promised that they could send in food and resources, but unfortunately, due to other enemy aircraft and bad weather, they couldn't send the care packages down to Stalingrad. This meant that the 200,000 soldiers couldn't be fed properly and couldn't be armed properly. Kind of sucked. Out of the 200,000 Germans in the Sixth Army, only 2,000 ever made it home. Around 20,000 were captured from the battle, but as I said, only 2,000 made it back to Germany. The other 18,000 probably died in prisoner camps. It's kind of how it goes. With the Sixth Army being completely annihilated, with the majority of the German soldiers and some of the best German soldiers, the German front was now pretty much completely vulnerable, allowing the Soviets just to kind of just mow through and retake all of the land lost in the previous months. The Russians were eventually stopped for a time, but that was only just a delay method for the Germans because, a couple months later, a new offensive by the Russians would start. That'd be pretty much it. Because of Case Blue's failure, the Germans could no longer get oil, and eventually they would run out of oil, making it so they can do any more major offensives with their tanks and cars. They could still drive them, of course, but just not at the same extent that they could previously. They really needed the oil in the Caucasus. And after the failure of Case Blue, that was pretty much endgame for Germany.
Alright, AP Euro gamers. I hope you liked your presentation. See you on the flip side.
Woo!